Hi everyone, today I'm going to be doing a fairly quick video about things I will never do and things I will hopefully always do with my BookTube and AuthorTube channel. So basically just, what my brand represents, what I just would contrary to my values and the way I choose to present myself, because I had seen a couple of other people doing videos like this and I thought it would be fun to make up my own little list of like notes and talking points and stuff. So anyway, and obviously I should say in advance, if you don't already realize this, I'm not trying to throw shade on people who do the things I say I'm never going to do. Like obviously like do whatever you want for your own channel, but this is just, what I personally feel like wouldn't represent who I am or what I want to convey. So anyway, I would never mindlessly make content just for content's sake or do popular topics and tags just for views. Now obviously I have done a number of tag videos in the past and I do hope to do many more in future, but they're obviously, tag videos I was tagged in or tag videos I saw people doing and wanted to do myself. Like, for example, I've seen some tag videos in BookTube and AuthorTube, and I just looked at the questions and I realized that's kind of not really geared towards the person I am. It's geared toward, let's say, like someone who reads a lot of contemporary books versus I read like mostly like historical fiction books published, at least like 50, 30, like 100 years ago. So obviously that's just not going to be like relevant to the kind of reader I am, or like their questions geared towards people of like a certain generation, like under the age of like 25 or 30. So I just like can't relate to these cultural references, or I just don't have like a goofy, outgoing, jokey personality. I'm, very, very like serious, like stone-faced, intellectual, and try to present a professional image. So I'm just, not the kind of person some of these tag videos are geared towards. And obviously, like, for example, I know there are a number of popular topics in BookTube. For example, the midweek or the mid-month or the end of the month, like beginning of the month, like wrap up or check-in, but that's just not really something I would like to do myself. Not saying I would, never do it or you suck if you do it, of course not, but it's just, what I personally like to make videos about. I just prefer to like, book reviews, like book related topics, like my bookshelf tour, which I'm finally getting back to, thankfully, just things like that. So I just not going to make a topic just, oh, I haven't done a video this week, oh, I better do this popular topic everyone's doing, or oh, look at that tag. It's not really the kind of questions geared toward the person I am, but oh, better do it anyway because I might get some more subscribers and views and content generation and just things like that. So basically I like stay true to the things I would like to make videos about. And on the same topic, I will never pretend to another personality. What you see is what you get. With me, I have, like a very straightforward, like straight shooting, like right from the hip, a working class way of talking. Like, for example, if I think something is goofy, I say the word goofy a lot. I pick that up from my grandparents and like say dude and guy instead of man or person. That's just, my personal way of talking. I'll never have this like hoity-toity, cleaned up, like upper class bourgeois way of talking. It's just, the way I was geared towards being raised. I'm sorry if I'm rambling. This video is completely unscripted, and I just don't have a very like outgoing personality. I do like smile and laugh. I'm not channeling the spirit of Buster Keaton all the time, but it's just I'm never gonna start a video like saying tee hee hee. Today we may or may not be talking about all the things. Like I hate the phrase "all the things" so much. That's another example. I just speak my mind, like brutal honesty. I try not to be rude. I realize people who aren't like socialized in the working class community, they're not used to that way of speaking. They might think that kind of like talking is rude, but that's not my intention at all. It's just kind of a brutal honesty. What you see is what you get when you grow up. Like, for example, I told my parents once about this very, very brave young woman I follow on YouTube. Caitlin Dubrow. She's a makeup artist. She sadly lost both of her arms and both of her legs to meningitis when she was 21, but she does amazing makeup work now with her prosthetic arms. But anyway, she was talking about how she wasn't really such a good person before she got meningitis, and like she got religious and became a much nicer person after losing all four of her limbs. And one of her relatives had told her, oh, you were so mean before. Well, I'm paraphrasing. I don't think these were the exact words. Like, oh, you were so mean before, but now that you're just a torso, you're so much nicer. And my father laughed and asked, is she from Pittsburgh? Because, that's just the kind of like straight shooting like way of speaking that we have. And I will also never get political, or at least not too political, or make polarizing comments. Yes, I have mentioned in passing quite a few times when it is relevant, not just, out of the blue, that I am an old school socialist. And I say old school to distinguish myself from these, like sorry, not sorry, like blue-haired weirdos virtue signaling on TikTok. They're really just like limousine liberals and champagne socialists. They don't care about actual like classic traditional like left-wing politics, like a living wage, like free or very cheap college education, like universal health care, things like that. They're just going on about this like stupid like virtue signaling stuff. I obviously won't give any examples because again, I don't like to get too political. But if I ever do get enough active subscribers to do and ask me anything for the milestone 500 or 1,000 subscribers, I would love to talk more, obviously, if I get the questions, not again out of the blue, about socialism and second wave radical feminism and what they mean to me. I would love to like share these very, very important aspects of my identity with these guys. And so another thing leading into things I already was mentioning, I will not review books just because they are popular. Yeah, I'm not going to avoid reading a book totally just because it might be popular, because many people on BookTube are like talking about and reviewing it and stuff. But that's just, again, that's just like mindlessly generating clicks and likes and views and stuff. And that's just really not who I am. I don't want people to subscribe to me just because I did a couple of like, popular topics or talked about like contemporary, very like trendy books, and they're going to find out like pretty much almost immediately that's not who I am at all, and they might feel tricked and want to unsubscribe or not like me anymore because I just wasn't being true to who I am. And like probably if like for example I'm doing some upcoming videos on these books, I like finished them quite a while ago, I should really return them to the library. These books are like totally not my style at all. They're like Christian historical romances, so like that was not a genre I had ever, or a subgenre I had ever read of the romance novel or the historical fiction novel. It's totally not the thing I usually read at all or like seek out by choice at the library, but I ended up really, really liking this. And so when I will do videos like this, I will say this isn't the type of book I usually read or review, just so I guess people know, like, if just don't subscribe to me if you expect I'm going to be talking about mostly this all the time, because I talk about books that are about other things and other topics. And I'm sorry again if I'm rambling. Another thing which I will never do will be like jump cuts. I do obviously edit out frames when I need to. For example, I'm not going to leave in like messing up, like for example long pauses, or sometimes the QuickTime movie camera on my computer freezes, so I have to like go back to where I was roughly before the stupid like annoying freeze began and start all over again, or I mess up as I'm talking or make an embarrassing mistake, or maybe there's like annoying yard work or lawn mowers or whatever, like motorcycle popping from the street outside my window, of course. And if you can't hear me, and just like other things are like coughing or clearing my throat or taking a drink of water, I'm obviously gonna edit that out. Or sometimes I'll leave a deliberate pause between sections just so it will be like multiple parts of the video instead of just like one, like from beginning to end. But I will never deliberately put in jump cuts, and I hate this advice to do a jump cut every 20 seconds, because God forbid people have to sit still for more than 30 seconds. Like, that would be horrible. Like, believe it or not, some of us are from the generation that was raised to like know how to sit still for long periods of time. We're not, I lost my interest, because you're not TikTok attention span generation videos. Like, seriously, that's not who I am. And I also don't know how to do like fancy filters and slow-mo. That's again just not something I'm particularly interested in anyway, even if I knew how to do it. And as I aforementioned, I won't do goofy slang. I freaking hate the phrase all the things. Like, why are you people still saying this in 2023? It was goofy and weird and like cringy even in like 2016 or whenever it started. And also using slang like that kind of like dates your channel, and just it just makes me gross, even like having to say all the things like to make fun of it. And I won't make gross noises. There's one young lady, I really do like her. I follow her. She does like mostly like body modification, tattoos, piercings, and like stretched ears and stuff like that. But like I really kind of turned off. I avoided subscribing to her for a long time, even though I was like watching a lot of her content, because she often burps during her videos. Like one time she even burped twice during a video, and she actually said after one of these, that was a good one. And like at one video at the start, she announced she had already defecated twice. Like, why do we need to know that? That's gross. Like, why would you do that? Why would you? I mean, I understand you can't always control your body function. Sometimes you like burp or something, or have to, again, as I mentioned, sometimes I'll cough or clear my throat or lose my voice, but I edit that out. And if I was in the middle of something when it happened, I'll like go back to the start and begin like that section all over again. I won't just like proudly leave in like a disgusting noise. Why do people need to know about that? And it also really, I know this is a generational thing. When I see some Ask Me Anything videos from people who are like significantly younger than I am, like, at least 10, 15 years or whatever. And they're like answering all these like gross, vulgar, personal questions. Like, why would you ask someone that and expect an answer? And why would you even deign to reply to that instead of saying that's like really like an invasion of my privacy? Like, I'm not going to talk about something that's so intimate, like, sex life or bathroom life or whatever. Why would you eat? Oh, I don't understand the young generation. Believe it or not, I am much older than I look. I am 43 years old, and I, again, getting into back into that, I will never use strong language. I know this makes me sound like a complete prude, but I personally never use words stronger than hell or damn, or at least in the English language. It's just like I can't get myself to do it. I've never said the F word in my entire life. I know that makes me sound like a giant prude. I have never even written the word out longhand. I used to write it out with like, certain symbols, and other words I would write out with other symbols when I was just writing my drafts by hands for my book. And when I even used the symbols when I started transcribing them, and it took me so long to actually build up to feeling comfortable typing out the F word longhand instead of just like, oh, I'll substitute in this letter for the symbol and stuff. It was just like, really, that's just not how I was raised. I don't curse a lot. I'm just, I mean, obviously that's a subject for another video, but strong language and cursing all the time isn't who I am. I say, frickin' a lot. I mean, but that's not me trying to avoid like censors or not using the F word. That's how I genuinely talk. I never say the F word like ever in my entire life. I know that makes me just sound so like frickin' out of touch and stuff. And I will also never do too many events. No shade on you if you really like having a full calendar and doing lots of, like readathons and buddy reads and, like reading read-alongs, and that's the word I was blanking on, and stuff like that every single month. But I have other things to do with my time. I am a first and foremost a writer. That is my calling in life. I have chosen to prioritize my writing above all other things, including making videos, and I do realize that kind of like is holding me back a lot from being, fully like integrated into the BookTube and the AuthorTube community. But that's just what I've chosen to do. My writing takes precedence over everything, and that includes like just not doing too many events. And also when you're doing too many events, like maybe that's just for the sake of doing too many events. I know I did make that mistake in the past, and so you're just, well, at least not you, just me personally, I was feeling like, oh, I'm reading all these books and like trying to make all these videos, and I'm not really getting much out of it because people aren't watching them, or maybe I'm just like selecting all these books to be read and I can't really like realistically get through all of them. But I just felt like I had to try reading all these books for the readathon, and my channel really isn't that popular, so why am I even putting in all that effort? And another thing I will never do, this is the last one on my never do list, I will never spend hours making thumbnails. Like kudos to you if you have the technological skills and the money for like premium like version of Canva or whatever other services people use. But that's just, again, why do I have like 4 to 5 hours a day to spend like making thumbnails? Yeah, I know people aren't going to click on my videos as readily as other people's videos when they're not, like all flashy and stuff like that and not looking so professional. But I just like the homespun way my thumbnails look. Yes, I am planning in future to try stepping up my game a little bit with like the free version of Canva or like other services. But again, I will never spend like 4 or 5 freaking hours on a thumbnail particular. I know this is like no longer advised, but a lot of people like in the past they said, oh, you're supposed to do a goofy exaggerated expression in your thumbnail, and like, oh, this like gigantic font and all these like wild flashing colors and like silly backgrounds or whatever. That's again not who I am. What you see is what you get. And getting to the first point on my always list, something I have been doing through this entire video, I will always talk with my hands. I'm 1/8 Italian. It's kind of like a genetic thing for Italian people, and I got a couple of rude comments on my most viewed video to date about what happened about the Romanovs who were murdered in July of 1918 and what happens to them in my alternative history. And a couple of people say like, stop talking with your hands, stop waving your hand around. Like, sorry, not sorry. That's how I genuinely talk. What am I supposed to say? Oh, thank you for letting me know. I really appreciate that unsolicited comment. In future, I will always sit on my hands and never move them at all, because yeah, God forbid I like not behave the way I have always behaved. Like talking with my hands, like miming what I'm talking about, it just comes so naturally to me. The idea of not talking with my hands, that would be kind of like a form of prison. And as I mentioned in the never thing, this is also in the always, I will always have a very homespun way of speaking. What you see is what you get. I'm not going to clean up my language and just like, oh, this is so nice and this is so nice. If I think something's like goofy or stupid, I'm obviously not going to try to insult people or books or whatever on purpose. But if I, think something is like goofy or weird or ridiculous, I'm going to, say that, shoot straight from the hip. And I will always like try to review books outside the box. Obviously, that doesn't mean I'll never like review or talk about popular books or anything like that, but I just like to review and talk about books that maybe so many people on BookTube aren't aware of, that kind of might help to make me stand out from the crowd, particularly if people are searching for books about those topics or those particular titles. And I will always, stay true to my interests, which is, like very, very serious, like historical fiction, like historical nonfiction. Obviously, like I absolutely love Dante and the Divine Comedy. I've got a whole slew more of planned Dantean videos coming up, including one like how I memorized Canto 1 of Inferno in the original medieval Florentine Tuscan, and it will also include like my sneak preview, hopefully, of all the first 75 lines of Canto 2 of Inferno, which I'm like almost 100% able to recite with complete confidence and fluency. So look forward to that. I can't wait to like try again to do a recitation of what I know so far of Canto 2 on video, and I will try to provide a wide variety of things. Obviously, people tend not to really want to watch so many videos or subscribe to people who are like all over the place all the time, like just pick like 3, 4, whatever main topics you like to discuss in your videos. But I do, have a wide variety of interests, and many of them do relate to, books and writing and like similar subjects. So I'm going to, talk about all of those things and like give people a wide, like really, really like, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the word, just like a wide-ranging, like accurate view of who I am as a person and as a reader and a writer. And I will always strive to improve my content. I have like already improved so much since I began making videos again. I'm in September of 2021. It's been September 9th will make it 2 years since I've begun regularly and seriously adding content again. So I've like learned a lot about, video editing and how to improve my lighting, or at least as far as I can in this little realm. I almost always do my videos in and like talking, feeling more confident talking on camera and like knowing when to like edit and like talking from scripts and just basically like just learning as much as I can about my editing. And I will always dress professionally. Yes, sometimes I will wear t-shirts. You've seen me wearing like my tie-dye t-shirt or the like here speak piece, like C piece, whatever order they're in, the Little Doves t-shirt, and just a few other t-shirts I've worn. But they're not like slobby t-shirts, like a gigantic men's t-shirt 2 sizes too big I would just wear for like lounging around the house on a weekend or when I'm sick or whatever. I just try to like wear nice clothes like this. I absolutely love jewelry. I haven't worn my eye makeup in a long time because it was like winter and it was really making my skin like dry out, and I have a history of like eczema and seborrheic dermatitis, dry skin, so I wanted to avoid that. And I haven't done my nails for a long time because I'm regularly going swimming in the summer, and I like obviously chlorine that's gonna like wear down your nail polish even quicker. But once the pool season ends, I will go back to painting my nails. I absolutely love doing my nails, and maybe I should get back to doing my eye makeup again and like fun colored lipsticks for Spooktober in October, because I just feel like you need to present yourself professional looking. People aren't going to click on your videos if you're just like, oh, this is like a slobby pair of pajamas. Like, why would you wear that for a professional video? You wouldn't wear that to work or going out to like a fancy restaurant. Why would you do it in a video and represent your brand that way? And there are a couple of videos I had to reshoot because I discovered, much to my mortification, when I was watching a playback, there was a wardrobe malfunction. I'm not from the generation that believes like visible bra straps are like professional or something desirable. So yeah, I will reshoot videos for that. It's just a generational thing with me. I know how out of touch that makes me feel, and I will always provide intros. I follow this. I mean, I really do enjoy his channel. Nick Nimmin. He's in the like how to improve your content, get more views, whatever niche. And he pretty much, I'm not joking or like being hyperbolic, he starts pretty much all of his videos with hey, today we're talking about XYZ and we're starting right now. Like seriously, not even providing an intro, like saying like, oh, this is how, like, for example, for me, it would be impossible in a lot of things. Like, for example, this video is a blog post based on a blog post originally published on XYZ date, or oh, this is how I got interested in this writer, like a quick short story like leading directly into the subject at hand, like, oh, I got these books at like a used bookstore and like something interesting happened then, or like I saw another book there and that's how I, got interested in the writer and wanted to learn more. I'm not just gonna like jump in without any context, and I don't gear my videos towards like, again, sorry not sorry, the TikTok generation who can barely sit still for 30 seconds at a time. And I've also like heard a lot of these people say, oh, if you say hello to your audience, they're already DNFing and they're like not gonna want to watch any more of your videos, and never say goodbye, never say in summary, never say in conclusion, never give an introduction, don't introduce yourself. I just really want to present myself as someone who, comes across like as a personal connection. I'm sorry if I'm rambling and repeating myself too much, and I will always, like edit out bloopers. Again, that's getting back to like making disgusting noises during the video. Why would you want that to represent your brand? Or just like if I misstate something or start rambling, I don't think it's funny or cute when I know, like, I don't, maybe there's a word for this like trend or whatever, when people they like stumble on a word. They're, I mean, obviously this can be like okay if like you just like stumble on it quickly and laugh about it, but like some people they like, stumble on the pronunciation of a word or a name, or instead of just like laughing it off and like trying again, or just saying, oh, I just can't pronounce today, or I don't know how to pronounce like, French names, they just like mispronounce it on purpose over and over, and like make the mispronunciation even like sillier or weirder or long drawn out, just like, you messed up, edit that out, or just like quickly laugh it off. And I will always, serve as a positive ambassador for my, various communities, like, socialism, being like, a second wave radical feminist, observant Judaism, just basically many like different communities and important aspects of my identity. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully this video wasn't too rambly and all over the place, but as aforementioned, it was, completely unscripted. As I did mention in the video, I will be doing some reviews for these two books upcoming, and I will also be reviewing this book, and also this book. I enjoyed all four of those books very, very much, and I might also be doing blog posts about those books. Obviously, as I did mention, like more Dantean content coming up in future. So please, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to me. I'm hitting the like button and the notification button. But I particularly, most of all, enjoy seeing comments from you guys, because I really want to feel like an actual part of the BookTube and AuthorTube community. So thank you guys again very much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye.